NFT Utility, fresh ideas and existing use cases.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. I have this amazing panel over here with us. Why don't you just start off by introducing yourself, guys?
Sure. Hello, my name is Mark, founder of ProdMark, where I leverage my expertise across product and marketing management and help companies and businesses adopt emerging technologies.
Hello, I'm Arturo Cantera, founder and CEO of Prime Numbers and also a XDC core team member. I'm living in Dubai right now. It's a pleasure to be here in Malta, first time doing this. Let's have a great panel.
My name is Robert Jahns, better known as the artist Noise 7. And today I'm here to talk about NFTs, the utilities, and also a bit about the technology. I'm very excited to be here today, guys.
What an amazing panel, guys. NFTs. So when it started off, it was all about digital art. But as competition started growing and there was a lot more noise, they started adding utility. Now, we're here to talk about different types of utility. From your experience, guys, what different types of utility tried to make projects stand out? Or how can they implicate utility?
So I think, especially in the art section, when you're from the traditional art world like myself, and then you step into the NFT space, and every of your collectors ask you for utility, special access, and all these things. As an artist yourself, you think, like, what can I do to offer something really exciting and unique? And speaking about art and utility, for me as an artist, it was very interesting to create special pieces, special NFT pieces. And if you would collect this special NFT, I would give you access in the future to other NFT or art pieces that only you have access to if you own this specific piece. So this, I think, is one very, very cool utility if you talk into the art aspect.
So I think everyone knows NFTs about the blue chips projects like the Bored Apes or CryptoPunks. But I think NFTs is so much bigger than this. In the case of the utility of NFTs, you have, for example, event ticketing, tokenization.
Could you just put the mic a little closer?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Fractionalized investments, real estate, supply chain. For example, in the event ticketing, if you go to purchase something for a concert, a ticket for a concert, 40% of the purchases come from bots to do resales. With blockchain and with NFTs, we can eliminate this part, and everything is going to be so much transparent.
Yes, I 100% agree to this. Also, what I find very interesting is the certificate and the certificate of authenticity. Because when you think about ownership, for example, myself, I'm very much into watches, and if you buy a watch, it's a bit of important that you have the original papers with it, and these original papers often get lost because, especially when you buy old pieces of watches. But there are some companies that offer NFTs as the certificate of the watch. So if you buy a watch, you also get the NFT, which basically is the certificate for the watch. So this is, I think, very cool because when it's on the blockchain, it's never going to lose it.
No, yes, and obviously something to add as well, as you guys are mentioning, there's various streams that NFTs can create within a business. Something that I always like to mention is that NFTs are a technology. It's a new layer that a business can apply across, and he can utilize it if it's for loyalty programs, VIP, and even building, I would say, gamification features, products, where they can synergize across artists, music, brand, fashions, and so on. So I see that there's potential synergies that a business can get into, attract new audiences as well, if it's artists or even content creators nowadays that are creating their own content and digitizing it, if it's in different markets, or else even just creating their own marketplace as well. So I see the beneficial of implementing the technology itself, rather just looking at it as artwork or just a project that the media puts out there and people are getting educated mostly about.
Yeah, I think since you can customize the NFT smart contract as much as you want. In the case of gaming, let's talk about, for example, Counter-Strike or Fortnite or in this case, the skins or in-game items, if they turn off the servers, all your items are gone. Are gone. So if they put all of this on the blockchain, will stay there forever.
Something to add as well about that eventually if you build a game as well, that you can easily cross-sell from one game to another. A good example is Blizzard. They have multiple games, it's Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and so on. With the power of the building assets on the blockchain and having assets as NFTs, a user can easily utilize the same skins from one game to another and owning them directly.
Yes. Also, one thing I find quite interesting is when you think about contracts. It's very often that I receive contracts from my clients, and then it goes back and forth with changing some things, some small sentences. But the problem is you never really know if it's changed or not, if it's the same contract than before, because we have to read through all of it again. And I think through blockchain, I don't know if it's possible yet, but I'm sure it is, that you can, when you have contracts on the blockchain, you can see in the history what has been changed. So I think that makes it more easy to really understand contracts.
In your opinion, guys, so it is very clear that utility has been adopted, especially to make people stand out. And it's mostly in the case of directing a funnel to create your super fans. Are there any projects that you know of that you think are really leading in this space, that are key examples?
I want to add something to the history of the NFTs. With the NFTs, everything is going to be forever in the blockchain. You can check exactly the block where something happened. So imagine the human history if was writing in blockchain, right? There is no modification. No one can change the history, right? So imagine if we had this technology thousands of years ago. It can be amazing. So in the future, if we start to using NFTs and blockchain for the human history in this case, you can be 100% sure that is what happens in this exact year, right?
100%, yes. So I will talk about this in my speech after this one a bit more. But imagine you see the Mona Lisa in Paris in Louvre. I mean, let's say this one is the original. Okay, never knows, but let's say this one is the original. You don't know where it's been before the Louvre. You don't know who is the owner. Like, who was the owner 100 years ago? We don't know. But imagine this would be an NFT that would be on display. Then everyone could see who is the owner, what was it worth, what is the price history, and what wallet was holding this piece. So this makes everything more transparent. And I think especially in the art industry, it's very important to have some transparency. And I think for me as an artist, this was super, super special, that I was able to create art, upload it basically, mint it as an NFT, and then it has a value, a history, and it can also be shared or sold, bought. So it's a very, very interesting concept for myself.
Yeah, also for tracking the history in real estate. Let's say you have a house, you can trace all the different prices, all the different owners. For example, if you do some changes in the house, also with cars, all the different checks that the car have. I mean, with NFTs, you have infinite ideas. You can use NFTs for most of the tasks that you are doing every day.
And obviously, how I see it as well myself is that the technology itself is still evolving, as we are saying, you know, like, especially the new generation, it's going to be something normal for them to utilize this technology itself. And as you guys are mentioning, like, if nowadays someone creates some type of content, it's very hard to verify. But I see that in the future, you know, you can easily link up and see who is the real creator, especially not having replicas, if it's music, if it's just art, and even games themselves.
I mean, that's what's great about NFTs. It can show proof of ownership. And that's probably why utility was actually created, because since you can prove that you actually own something and you can sign the transaction, you're obliged to get something in return. Like if we look at what Bored Apes are doing, if we look at what artifacts are doing, they're forging. What are some ways that you think are doing extremely well for NFTs and utility. Are there any projects that come to mind? Maybe Mark from the gaming industry. Is there anything that's revolutionary or something new?
No, obviously, let's mention the iGaming space. You have online casinos, you have sports betting platforms themselves. Every brand has a loyalty system, which a customer is always after. If it's just depositing, getting a token, utilizing it within the platform itself. So I see that creating an asset on utilizing the NFT technology itself, they can easily create new streams if it's just even marketing and promoting their brand out there. Apart from that, I see that even they can build and curate better communities, which goes hand in hand with NFT projects. As you guys are mentioning, Bored Ape, you own the IP, you can create your own drink with your own Bored Ape, sneakers or fashion brand. So I do see that, again, we're very early and it's not that easy, especially when it comes to regulations and compliance, because everyone needs to abide to. But I see that, especially on the VIP side, that you can give more to the customer or player himself.
Yeah, I think in the iGaming part, NFTs can be really, really interesting. All the casinos have user accounts, have VIP, different levels, right? So why not to have the user account is going to be an NFT, this NFT have the different level, the 𝐒𝐿𝐬𝐬, all this information, right? And you have all the traceability of the player in this NFT, so you don't need the database anymore.
And obviously, there's already brands out there like Rollbit, which created an NFT, and then they started to build the platform. Nowadays, you have a full-blown platform itself providing sports betting, online casinos. You can leverage your own NFT as well. You can trade crypto in general. So I do see that, brands will start to shift to have a sort of one-stop shop when it comes to combining all the verticals, rather having just an online casino, having a sports betting platform. But, at the end, it's like buying an NFT in a different project. It's sort of gambling because they're just waiting if it's going to go up and down and then to resell. So I see it's the same stream of entertainment.
Yes. Also, if we speak about money for a moment, it's incredible how much money in the NFT game actually is. I've been into this since 2.5 years, and I've done things where you would mint an NFT and sell it like 2 minutes later and make money off it, lots of money. I've won raffles where I was able to mint an NFT, and the next hour it was worth 20,000 euros. So if you see these things, the only thing you need to do is spend some more time on Twitter, read some of the tweets of all these nerds in the NFT game.
And learn the lingo as well. Very important.
Yes. And then you realized, oh, wow, you can actually make a lot of money in this space and have a lot of fun, because in the end, you still own the art. In the NFT game, especially about the art industry, if you talk about Bored Apes, to me, personally, not offending anyone, but to me, it's not art. It's nothing that I would like to look at on my walls. But there's a difference between art in NFTs and just the fun aspect of it in NFTs, which would be the Bored Apes. So if you're more into the art aspect, into like the original, real traditional art, you will find it as well in NFTs. And those pieces also have value. But talking about the Bored Apes again, I mean, if you own one of these pieces for a long enough time, you would be eligible to get like the specific token, which again gives you passive income every month. So it's just an incredible space to be in. And again, there's a lot of money in there.
Yeah, for sure. I remember in 2021 having my laptop, my computer, my mobile phone, my other mobile phone, the tablet, everything connected to try to win the raffle. Because if you mint one of these NFTs, it's like a 10x minimum, instant, in few minutes. So it was crazy, the bull run last 2 years ago. Yeah,
but back then you would have never known that the Bored Apes would have been what they are today. And guys, really and truly, the Bored Apes are what they are today because of utility. And what they did is they gave a lot of airdrops. They allowed you from an ape to get a mutant ape. They created this kind of story. And from the mutant ape, you got the kennel. And these all started going up in value. Then they produced land and all these things. So it is utility in a sense.
Even to add, they built a game that only the holders could play,
Exactly.
which ended up in a sort of competitive and PvP arena for all the users themselves.
So it's like they created their own world in some way. And what's so interesting is this panel will have different perspectives. Rob is an artist. And DeFi and gaming, correct? As in, it's completely different perspectives. And it's very, very interesting. What other kind of projects do you think have injected a lot of value and utility?
I think in the art also, the CloneX.
CloneX is a great project.
They started with a pigeon, if I correct.
A what?
A pigeon NFT, like a bird. And then they do airdrops or special mintings for all the holders. And if you hold one of these pigeons in the early days, I was thinking was like 400,000 for owning one pigeon.
Well, I don't remember the price, but I remember the pigeon. That's by Jeff Staple, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like something recently that happened, I would say, which past days, is Disney is going to look into NFTs, you know, creating their own IP.
They just created a platform.
Creating a platform, a marketplace where, you know, there's millions of users watching the brand itself. They have multiple animations. And I do see that, you know, digitizing all of this, you know, especially for children and kids, they can have a better connection to and potentially even join different communities and learn more about this technology itself.
No, for sure. It seems like originally everyone had started off creating digital art and people started appreciating it for the art, pretty much like Rob's work. Rob is an artist. What happened after that is people started creating more brands, and that's where the utility started coming in. Bored Ape, you're right, is not an art-led project. It's a brand. They're building a brand around it. Artifacts, for example, which was acquired by Nike, is also a brand that was purchased by Nike, and now how they are innovating through utility is by creating physicals, which is basically a digital NFT, which they can forge to something that you can wear, and you have proof of ownership. It's quite an innovative twist. DeFi, are there any kind of projects right now that are implementing DeFi? For those who don't know, DeFi is basically use your finance to make money.
So in the DeFi part is where I am right now. DeFi with NFTs, I think, is going to be the close future right now. With real-world assets, the lending and borrowings are spending a big amount of money on putting these real-world assets in the lending and borrowings. Because imagine you have one house, you can put the house as a collateral on a lending and borrowing. It's going to be so crazy how fast you can get money from this house, right? You put the house in the lending and borrowing, you lend, for example, USDT, you do quick, fast trades, and then you repay back, and you still have your house. There is one risk, that you lose this USDT and you lose your house also, right? So
of course,
you need to be really careful on this.
Another core functionality regarding NFTs is that you can nowadays even build smart contracts to rent out your NFTs. So for example, Rollbit, it's an online platform where it's purely for gambling, and you want to share the experience to someone, but rather buying a Rollbit NFT, you can easily rent it out and you can leverage your own asset for others to utilize. And on the other hand, you can even monetize out of it, which from normal, you know, digital assets, normally you cannot easily do this. But with the power of the blockchain and creating, you know, good smart contracts and building NFTs, you can easily leverage this tool.
Guys, we have the last minute. Does anyone, before we close the panel, does anyone like to ask a question? Anything about NFTs, utility? Anyone? No? Guys, would you like any closing remarks?
I think I can add something about NFTs. It's like use NFTs as bank accounts, right? Because if you think about it, an NFT can be like a piggy bank where you can deposit or withdraw. You can also put different APIs about staking. In this case, we use NFTs for staking, for creating masternodes. Masternodes for Ethereum, for XDC blockchain, all the EVM blockchains, we are supporting it. So one of the big use cases is for the validation process in the blockchains to create masternodes.
No, I would say again, we're very early. It's always good to experiment about this technology, and not rush ahead. Implement into a business that you already have ongoing streams, but rather creating new ones, enhancing what you already have, as we are saying. If it's creating a new brand, or else building some gamification features or marketing as well in general. So it's important that we're out there and we're understanding how this technology purely works, and to obviously always keep an element of education for our customers, to learn from.
Any closing remarks, Rob?
I mean, to me, it's not financial advice. Buy Ethereum. I think this will change the world. But no, I mean, it's all about fun as well. So NFT is also a lot about fun, and I think NFTs will be used for tickets, for access, for VIP events. So I think they will be here for a very long time.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.